Hi, everybody. My name is Sam Dunlop. I am running for the Brown County Board of Supervisors in District 7, which happens to be the inner northwest part of Green Bay. The district that I'm running for actually encompasses all wards of the city of Green Bay. So next month, if I'm elected, I will have the chance to serve only constituents who are currently residents of the city of Green Bay. I am interested in running because I've had a culture of service throughout my personal life dedicated to serving people in a variety of capacities, whether that be very early on in my undergraduate tenure at St. Norbert College. I was fortunate enough to be elected to the De Pere City Council at the age of 21, where I served 2 terms. And not there long after, I decided to move to Portland, Oregon for about the better part of 14 years, where I had the chance to observe a lot of good things that I think government can do around planning and investing in arts and the infrastructure that supports people having a high quality of life. But I also saw some of the downsides of what happens when I think too many people from one party are in control without alternative voices at the table. So now, having relocated back to Green Bay, where I grew up after attending Preble High School in St. Norbert, I'm again interested in being of service to the community, not just because I think that there are lessons to be learned from other places, but also because I'm concerned about the culture of our politics and the people who are trying to bring kind of an ultra partisan, hyper partisan lens to local civic life. And frankly, I think if you talk to most people who have served in local government, you'll find that many of the issues that they contend with, whether they have to do with parks or water or the condition of streets and highways, don't really have a lot to do with kind of partisan postures in a whole lot of policy areas. So I would like to make my voice a contribution to that, but also help support folks who are just trying to do the important work that local folks and local government do every day. And it's the form of government that touches the most people the most directly, even though I think it gets the least attention. So those are some of the reasons why I am interested in being back in public service. And I see a few issues that are really important to me that I think um, some of them will be easier to address than others, but others might be a little more lofty. The first one is basically that right now something that I think folks who have been involved with the county have been trying to rectify, but haven't yet. And that is basically the issue of making sure that those government meetings are televised and that government is transparent. Of course, many of you will note that there has been a paucity in people's sense of faith in government over the last 10 years. And I think a lot of that has to do with people feeling like they don't have the ability to see easily what is happening in local government. And right now, it's the case that the Brown County Board of Supervisors meetings aren't recorded and they aren't live streamed online. So if you want to understand what the business of the board is, you actually have to show up there in person or depend on the whims of an individual who may or may not always be recording those and publishing them online somewhere. So, number one, I think that that's a smart goal that we can work towards, and I think that some people are already trying to accomplish right now. Certainly, I think that there's more to be done to make sure that the presence of those videos and those recordings are robust and accessible, both live but also archived on the county website. I think that that's essential for good government. So, transparency. Number two is that I think that we should make sure that our institutions, our local institutions that so many people rely upon, whether they be parks or our libraries or our museums, don't become targets of the many voices who want to make them kind of central and in the crosshairs of partisan culture war. I think that those are assets in our community that are best left administered by professionals and certainly deserve some oversight from elected officials, but not with the idea of sculpting them with a partisan lens or with the idea that they should be influenced by the whims of whatever politics are kind of blowing through the country or the state at a current time. So I see that happening, and it's not something that I am a terribly big fan of. So I think that we just need to work to make sure that those cultural treasures, those assets that so many people use and leverage, don't become targets of ultra politicization. And then finally, many of you will have heard about the relocation and the work that the city and the county have and the state have been undertaking to move the coal piles from basically right around the Mason Street Bridge to the mouth of the Fox River. What's interesting about being in service to District 7 of the Brown County Board is that those coal piles are actually moving into District 7. There's been some talk about development in that area to coincide with the relocation, but I've read less and understood less about what the efforts are to mitigate the potential damage to the environment as that transition takes place, but also the short and long term kind of changes that might happen for the neighbors and the neighborhoods that are downwind and downstream from where the new location of the coal piles will be. So I am really interested in making sure that our community has a clear-eyed sense of what the consequences are, and therefore what the solutions are to making sure that there aren't any negative impacts from the relocation in terms of the waterways that so many people enjoy, regardless of whether or not you live in this neighborhood. There are lots of people who access the Fox River and the Bay of Green Bay, and make sure that that doesn't become a hazard of people accessing them. So I certainly want to make sure that those are enshrined as a part of this transition. I anticipate that will occur over the course of the next 2, if not more, years. So those are, in short, some of the things that I'm most interested in doing and most interested in seeing change over the course of the next 2, if not more, years in service to county government. Thanks for taking the time to listen, and please get out there and vote on April 7th.